Right. Welcome to another Infinity Kingdom video. This one is all about the brand new Fu Fei, the Chaos Immortal. It's a Chaos Healer Immortal. It was just released a couple days ago in game, and today we're gonna have a look at who she is, what she can do, what her effect on sort of the game and the meta is gonna be, or what I think it's gonna be, and some further implications. So, without further ado, let's just dive on in. It is quite interesting to see a healer as the first thing, a healer coming out for Chaos, because this means that now we have, we got Athena as a tank, we got Wukong as sort of a semi-DPS utility kind of thing. We got Poseidon as a big damage dealer in certain build, and Loki as the utility slash mage. Now we have a pure support backline as well, and that means that we, short of a dragon, can actually begin to see whales running full chaos, impossible to even scratch by mere mortal setup and builds. Before we dive too far in, however, as appropriate to a video about a brand new Chaos Immortal, Chaos is obviously the big spender item. These go for, what is it, between $8,000 and $10,000 for a maxed out Immortal, and most whales spend even more because you need unique artifacts, etc. as well. Extremely expensive stuff, and that means that flat percentages, if you are even considering a Chaos Immortal, even just doing half of the Loki and doing the rest for free, it's still going to be thousands of dollars. So a couple percentages off of that goes a long way. With the Huawei spend and save, pay and save campaign, you can get 20% back on purchases by saving up flowers. You get flowers for spending $1 or €1. It's the same old deal. You bank up these flowers and get the big ticket coupon, and you get 20% back. It's very nice, and it saves a lot in the long run, especially if you are even considering touching a Chaos Immortal. You want to make sure that you are not spending 20% more, or even more than that, in some cases, than you need to. So spend wisely. Join the AppGallery and Huawei Discord. They got guides and mods to help you out with, getting to the campaigns, etc. If you have any issues, there's a lot of good people in there, and I think they're gonna revive the giveaway channel as well for some free competition and rewards. Let us begin by looking at Fu Fei. Who is this new Immortal? As I said up front, it's a healer Immortal, and that's interesting. Her stat reads, her ultimate ability is clearly modeled on Theodora, but it's amped up quite a lot. We got heals all allies for 520% recovery rate. That is 520. That's a crazy high number. Dispels all negative effects from the most injured singular, and creates a lifelink between that single target and all enemies, sharing 20% of all received damage for 12 seconds. Incredibly powerful. Just the staggering 420% heal value. That means that Fu Fei outshines her predecessor. Theodora used to be, or is right now, an insanely powerful healer with her 300 or something heal. That is incredible, and this is just taking it to next level, right? On top of that, we got LifeLink. I think that's going to be a game changer, because LifeLink is a very powerful feature. We're going to dive into that more a bit later, but right now it is a free skill, and I know that people are going to be saying, oh, but it's only at 20%, where the Tower of Knowledge skill gives 50%. Sure, but there are some more powerful effects to this one that we're going to have a look at later. Before we do that, I just want to compare sort of the raw output and stick with the healing effect and evaluate her as a healer, and then we can add the utility effect that she also brings to the table afterwards. So looking just purely at the healing, Theodora has, been the most powerful healer in Infinity Kingdom for quite a while. I remember back when she wasn't even released and people were just whispering about her amazing abilities to heal insane amounts and dispel everything. And when she came out, I mean, she changed the meta. She has been an incredibly powerful healer for what? I think it's about 2 years since she came out now. And she's just been incredibly powerful. That's gonna change because she is gonna pale in comparison. 300% recovery and dispels any continuous damage effects, so only continuous damage effects, against 520% and dispels all negative effects. That means everything from the most injured target. So, Theodora clearly countered the Shadow Immortals, and that was her purpose back then. In addition, should be said that she also heals a target with less than 50% HP is going to be healed 100% more. So that is, of course, going to make up for some of the healing. But far from everything, especially in a setup where, let's be real, full chaos, you are retaining more than 50% troops for all fight, or you have lost anyway. But Fu Fei, but Theodora, I mean, she's been very, very good. But now Fu Fei is gonna sort of outshine her with just a 520% recovery rate in comparison to the 300 of Theodora. Reviewing, comparing these immortals against each other can't be done just based off the skills. We have to look at their attributes and stats as well. So looking at that, we got Regent stats, which are completely identical. I think that they kind of copied Theodora and then made her stronger. But that's that's my idea. Basically, they share the same energy regen stat, and that means that their cast rate is going to be precisely the same. So given that Fu Fei's healing is just doing 280 more healing, she is just going to be outputting a lot more effective health. And she doesn't, I mean, Theodora can still be very powerful if you are below 50% troops, but at that, you really don't want to get to less than 50% troops because your damage output is going to be terrible down there anyway. So getting just a stronger heal up front is a lot more powerful. Not just a little bit, quite a lot. In addition to that, looking at the pure heal size, we got recovery rate percentages, but what is recovery rate? Recovery rate is some sort of hidden function that is attributed to aptitude as the primary attribute stat. So looking at that, we can see that Fu Fei has quite a significant advantage as well in this respect. She's got 738.3 aptitude against 669.5 of Theo. This is at level 55 with boost levels 30, so maxed out Immortal. But of course, it is not with it is with some decent equipment, but not the best equipment out there, and it is not with the bonuses of the last tier equipment. Sorry, I can't remember what that's called. So bear that in mind, but for comparison purposes, these are completely identically equipped, so we just see a higher base aptitude for Fu Fei. She is just going to be Theo with a lot of buffs and a lot more stronger. So, I said that we were going to get back to the LifeLink. LifeLink is a skill that we've all known for quite a while now. It's been out for ages, and it is this very interesting skill which sometimes can output just crazy and insane amounts of damage and value. Like, think of some of the boss killing setups, right? We can get into the millions of damage being transferred back at the boss because of the way the skill works. What it does is basically it transfers damage taken. So, instead of your Immortal, if you got LifeLink on, instead of your Immortal taking the damage, it's going to be transferred back to the enemy. So you effectively take less damage on your own Immortal, and you deal the damage back at the enemy. Incredibly powerful, but for PvP, LifeLink has not really found its place as sort of a must-have in the meta. It's not the absolute best skills, but for certain setups, it is incredibly powerful. And if you know what you are up against, it can be very, very, very strong. Because that is the thing about LifeLink. You need to apply it to an Immortal that is taking a lot of incoming damage consistently, because then you get a lot of value out of it, then you protect against a lot of damage and reflect a lot of damage. If you are sort of up against one setup that deals a lot of damage to your backliners, then LifeLink can really do a lot of impact in protecting and dealing damage on your backliner. But when you then next match face a hybrid which deals all of its damage up front, well, then your LifeLink in the back doesn't really do much, but your LifeLink in the front would do amazing. But then you're back to fighting someone that deals no damage up front, some backline AoE fire team or something, and LifeLink doesn't make sense anymore there. So that's really the issue with LifeLink, right? That you can't just equip it on one guy and say it will always get a lot of value here, because it is heavily dependent on the actual encounter and the enemy that you face. How the enemy has set up his marches, how he has positioned his mortals, what kind of build is the enemy running, etc, etc, etc. All of this is what makes LifeLink either a very good skill or a very bad skill. But this is where Fu Fei comes in and just makes the skill a hell of a lot better without having to spend a single skill slot. Because as a built-in effect on this Chaos Immortal's ultimate ability, you have create a lifelink between the enemy taking the most damage and all other enemies, sharing 20% of the damage received back at them. So this solves the problem. I know that this is not a 50% value like it is with the LifeLink Tower of Knowledge skill, but I'll argue that it is actually a lot stronger, because it solves the problem of, well, firstly, it solves the problem of applying it automatically to the Immortal that actually needs LifeLink, and where LifeLink would be highly valued. The Immortal that is taking the most damage gains this lifelink, gains this damage reduction taken buff, gains this thorn effect. That's incredibly powerful, because you get lifelink to be active on the single target that you needed to, instead of the problem with lifelink, which was that you never really know which one Immortal would be most effective with it. This is just taken care of in one fell swoop, and that makes it a lot stronger. It's done automatically without any skill slot, and that's just incredible. Secondly, the lifelink effect is a 100% application. That means it gets a lot more value, because you are not left with a chance to apply lifelink. Now, the original Tower of Knowledge skill lifelink is every 6 seconds you have a 50% chance of creating a link between the Immortal and 2 enemy units. They will share you receive damage for 50% for 6 seconds. So it is higher percentages, but it's not necessarily going to be active when you need it to. It is a shorter duration. It is not 100% proc, and it's not even necessarily going to be on the Immortal taking the most damage in this specific fight. All of these problems are being taken care of with this Fu Fei ability. It's always going to be on where it gives the most value. It has a 12-second duration instead of 6-second duration, and it targets all enemies instead of 2 enemies, and is always going to be on the Immortal that gives it value. So incredibly powerful. all in all, comparing Fu Fei with Theodora, and I think Theo is at least the closest we get to anything healing utility this powerful. But it is evident that Fu Fei is a complete game changer. She is gonna be very, very powerful. I'm actually leaning towards predicting her to be the most powerful Chaos Immortal that has been released yet. The raw healing effects, the dispel of all negative effects, that's incredibly powerful. And creating lifelinks on the target that needs it the most. I mean, it's insane. It's like three of the best Tower of Knowledge skills mashed into a skill that is already the best healing ability in the game. Just incredible, and I do actually fear that this is gonna widen the gap between, Chaos spender whales and everybody else. Right now we are seeing, even big spender accounts that have spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on Infinity Kingdom being unable to even scratch some of the Chaos whales, and I think that's a very not healthy place to be for the game, because it's not gonna stand for long. I mean, it's not gonna be fun for long. It's gonna really split into just oh, there is a Chaos Whale in this KVK, then he wins, or there are two of them, they can fight it out, and whoever wins, and that's very sad. I hope that they are gonna bring back something that we can fight this thing with, something that can apply wounds beyond D-spells, anything that can sort of help getting some of the skill setups back into the game. I'm not saying that it should be beating the biggest spenders, but at least, filling up rallies with good fire Khan marches should be able to at least do damage to a chaos setup. I fear that is going to be completely impossible if you have Fu Fei and Athena there. But we will see. It's going to be interesting to see when the whales begin to max her out and she appears in combat. For now, that is everything that I had for you guys. I hope that you enjoyed. Please don't feel too down. The game is still a lot of fun, and I mean, it's pretty crazy that anybody even gets all of these chaos models given the price tag. But if you do, spend wisely, and I mean, have fun with it. If anybody out there is watching this and actually is gonna get this Immortal, I'd love to see some battle reports. I'd love to see if my prediction holds true, or if there is something that I've missed and she's not as brokenly powerful as I think she will be. So do reach out. I'm Myrax, server 105. You can find me there. Find me on Discord, AppGallery website, YouTube, etc. Thank you for watching. Take care and see you on the next one. As always, please do subscribe to the channel. I consistently release new content here on the IK channel and on the official IK Wiki website. Links are in the description. On these channels you can find guides from everything in IK, from events to talents, passives, finished builds and game mechanics. With that, I'm gonna leave you, and as always, thank you for watching and see you for the next one.